personally writing over 1,000 memberships. I'm Business Solutions Sapphire Elite and Special Forces with Small Business. I can say now, I was the 2019 Field Trainer of the Year because Miss Larry took that this year. So, but I can't hold that title as 2019 Field Trainer of the Year award. And just love this space here. I find my niche here in this part about opportunity, and I come to the call to learn as well. These guys have been great mentors to me, and I actually host the accountability call on Thursday nights at 9:30. And so on that call, the individuals are masterminding about the activity that they're doing out in the CDLP field. And they are doing some phenomenal things. People are opening up groups. People are really servicing the market. And I look to see a whole lot of other um, app, what you call it, activity coming out of that accountability group. So thank you guys for the coaching call here. Those individuals do come to that call and really mastermind on the activity that they're doing. So with that, I pass it over to you, Lamar.
Thank you, Sharanda. This is Lamar Reynolds out of Houston, Texas. And it is always an honor to be on the call here tonight to share nuggets of information for people that are looking to improve themselves. And I'm in my 15th year that I've been with Legal Shield. I've been selling the CDLP memberships for about 11 and a half years now. I've been a trainer for about 10 and a half years. And I've earned my 50,000K ring and also the 100,000K ring selling the CDLP memberships. And I just get up every day and sell CDL memberships to drivers and to companies. And as Sharanda just indicated on the Wheel of Opportunity, you know, there's different product lines that you can sell here at Legal Shield, but I found my home in transportation. And so I run in the lane of transportation, but I sell all the different products out there. It's just a wonderful opportunity. I enjoy transportation. And I've sold over 5,000 personal memberships running in the lane of transportation. And it's just a wonderful place to operate from. And I'd asked the Lord to show me where he wanted me in Legal Shield. And when I found transportation, I found my home and I found my place that Sharanda was just talking about. And you need to, hopefully, all of you that's on this call is 64 right now. Hopefully you found your home here in transportation. And I'm part of the Special Forces and also the Solution Emerald Elites. And it's just a great honor, again, to be on this call here tonight. And I'm going to turn it back over to Robert. I'll turn it over to you.
All right, good stuff, brother. Appreciate you. Appreciate all you do. My name is Robert Dunbar. I've been with the company a little bit over 11 years, and I have been a trainer for 6 years, and I've also been a CDLP trainer for another about 3 years here. So, of course, like the other trainers, love doing what we do, love helping as much as we can. I do work every area of the business as well. I think it's really important for you to take advantage of all the different avenues of Legal Shield. So I know sometimes you may feel like, hey, I don't want to recruit, or I don't want to open up regular groups, or whatever area, right? I don't want to deal with insurance agents. Just keep in mind that this is a full running business. I'm a ring earner, 100K ring earner. I've got 250K ring earners on my team. So I definitely have delved into the networking side. I work with insurance agents. I do regular group openings, and I also work in the CDLP space as well. So take advantage of what you want to do as a minor, but let your heart lead you to your major. Like you heard Lamar talk about, he did some praying on it to figure out what he wanted to do. So find out where you want to be with this whole deal. But when it comes to CDLP, You plug in here every Monday, you're going to get the information that you need to get, the updates to current things, and the support team here. And then when you get really serious about doing this thing and you're saying, hey, look, I'm going out every day or every week, I'm making calls, I'm walking in, I'm pulling companies, then it's time to get on that accountability call with Sharanda Ivy so that you can learn more about what people are doing day to day in this space. So whatever level you're on, you can find a way to fit in to do that CDL here, and then plug into that Facebook page, and you will see all the things that are happening with the posts and all that stuff. So real quickly, let me before I turn it over to Randy to do his introduction and get started with testimonial, let me give you guys just a quick public service announcement. God, I know that you all want to help, and bless your heart for everybody who's doing everything to help. But do us a favor, on the Facebook page, if you don't know the answer to something, please refrain from answering, because we're reading some of these posts and some of you guys are answering questions without a clue. And it's like, I know in your heart you just want to help people, but keep in mind, you don't want to tell somebody something that's going to put them in a place where they make a bad decision and affect their business and affect the company's business. So some things, it's like, hey, you could do it this way, you could do it that way. I know Tyson Farrington posted something asking about whether to use the CDL or the family plan when the wife got pulled over with a ticket and she wasn't a CDL driver. And they could use the CDL side or the family plan side for that if they choose to. So the answer was kind of either or, and Sharanda came in and answered that. But there are questions that are being asked on that page, and there are direct answers to those questions where if you do it any other way, you're doing it wrong. And we don't want anybody's business to be jeopardized. We don't want people to come to the page to help to build their business and get wrong information, because sometimes people don't know who they're talking to. So they don't know that the person is not a field trainer or not a certification trainer or hasn't been doing it long. And sometimes you're using information, even some of the truck drivers. Some of you guys are drivers, and because you're a driver, don't necessarily mean that you know how Legal Shield operates in that space. Because those are two different things. Like knowing laws and rules as a driver and understanding what Legal Shield is doing for the drivers through our law firms may be two different things. So sometimes just make it clear, they'll say things like, in my opinion, or things like that. And I'm just saying it to you guys so that you don't mislead somebody, because I know nobody wants to do that intentionally. But I know that it does happen. And I see the posts. When I see them, I'll remove those posts, and then I'll stop the comments on that so that it doesn't get dangerous. But sometimes things are moving faster than we can get to it, because we are running businesses as well. So I just wanted to throw that out there just so people are aware. I know you want to help, but if you can't really give the correct help, then it's not really beneficial for you or that associate or the marketplace or the company when you give the wrong information. So I hope that don't come across wrong. I hope you guys understand why we're saying that. We got to keep it all safe and working in the right manner here. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to my good friend, Mr. Randy Hooker, so he can introduce himself and go into his testimony, brother.
Thank you so much, Robert. And that's right. We do want to get the right information to everyone. My name is Raymond Hooker, or Randy Hooker. I've been with Legal Shield actually starting my 14th year, and have been working the CDL space for the last couple of years, stronger than other parts of the business. I have been a full service associate. I love the new business, small business plans, because a lot of the trucking companies that we're working with may be needing different areas that the new plans are going to be covering. And with the announcement of the ID Shield for business from the convention, this is going to be huge, guys, in our space, especially for these trucking companies. So that's something to keep in mind. Learn about that so that you can utilize that, because in the transportation space, your company needs everything you can do for them, and the drivers need everything we can do for them. So there's more than just the CDL plan to be sold to a driver. We've personally sold over 1,000 apps. I've got the 1,000 app award. I'm 50K ring earner, and I live 200 miles from basically any place. So if I can do it, I know every one of you on this call can do what I've done. All you have to do is have the desire to get out and talk to people and show them what we do. This is the easiest membership to market that we have. The truckers know they need help. The companies know they need help. All we have to do is educate them how our plan does it, and they will buy it. You don't have to sell it. It's amazing if you just educate them. That's the biggest thing. One of the things that I'm going to show tonight, And this is something that is near and dear to my heart. I've already posted this article on the Facebook page for y'all. There is no other way than for me to read this testimonial, because the way it reads is the way that you need to hear it. The other day, my partner Bill and I signed a truck driver up a few months ago. The Bill that he's talking about is Bill Seen. I is Ricky Gooch, and of course, Frankie Sharp, and they work in the Tennessee area. This particular testimonial comes from them, and it comes from a driver that they signed up. Keep in mind that they market the legal plan for drivers, commercial drivers, legal plan, and they market the life events legal plan. In other words, they market both plans if they buy the plan. They don't sell them separately. It is sold as a unit. In other words, they buy both plans. So he tried his best to not to buy, but was one of the last in the group to sign up. About a month later, he called and needed a lawyer. He had exited onto a road because of an accident ahead of him, and the truck that he was in was overweight on that road. Of course, as Murphy's Law would have it, the trooper was there, sitting there waiting on trucks like his to make that exit, even though there was no overweight sign posted. Remind that, no overweight sign posted at the exit. So therefore, the trucker didn't know that he would be overweight, but he was exiting to get back onto because there was an accident. They exited to go around the accident and get back on the interstate past the accident is what was happening here. Long story short, the trucker received a fine of $11,000. So he called me and I gave him the information for the attorney and hoped for the best. Now, as usually I don't hear back from these folks, but this driver wrote this letter back to him to let him know that the story had come out to be a really good story. The lawyer had the $11,000 ticket dismissed, and you'd think that would be great. But the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey says, was that he also told the lawyer about getting this ticket, and told the lawyer that he had an issue at his home and what was going on with his house. The lawyer told him to send the information over to him and he'd look it over for him. The driver had built a new home and his shower had leaked, destroying the bathroom, bedroom, hallway in his home. And it seemed that seal had leaked over months and was causing some damage, had set up black mold in his home. The repair, of course, was going to be over $60,000 by the contractor. Well, they hadn't been in the home but about 8 or 9 months, and he tried to refinance it. And because of that, he was unable to refinance it because he hadn't built up enough equity right here. He hadn't built up enough equity on his home to be able to refinance it. The attorney was talking to the attorney about it as desperation because he just needed to get it off his chest. But his legal shield attorney wrote a letter to the contractor. You know those demand letters, as the law firm calls them? Of course, we call them a motivational letter. It sort of motivates people to do what they should have done to begin with. And so therefore, he wrote that motivational letter to the contractor, and within a week, construction began. So the driver figures that he saved the $60,000 plus the $11,000. So that's about $71,000 that he figures his plan saved him. Guys, he is still a member with the plan. This is a story or a testimonial that I've posted in the Facebook page for y'all, and you can utilize that with your drivers. It is huge whenever they find out about what it can do for them in this area. It's just an amazing story to me, and thought y'all would love to hear about it.
Hey, Mr. Randy,
Yeah.
what is that saying? Facts tells, stories sell.
There you go.
And that's just what this does, right?
Right.
All right.
I use this in my presentation, guys. I have it in the slide presentation, and I talk about it just exactly like what I talked about it to y'all. This guy was driving down the interstate. There was an accident. He was diverted around that accident, and their officer gave him a citation on it. And I asked the drivers at that time, was it his fault that he was diverted around that accident? No, but why did the driver give him a ticket? He should have known the accident was there. It was all about jurisdictional money. They wanted that jurisdictional money. And so therefore he went ahead and gave him that citation, because if the driver didn't have anything availability of fighting the ticket or doing anything about it, he would have had to pay that $11,000. As it was, because he had taken out our plan, he was able to dismiss. And of course, the points and everything would have gone away on that story.
So Mr. Randy, this is Lamar. Would you say it's a real good idea for everybody that's on this phone call here tonight, on the Zoom call, to come up with a story like you just came up with for CDLP and one for the legal plan? And if you don't have a story of your own, use Mr. Randy's story. He's providing that in the Facebook. But
this is a great story to put on your clipboard.
It sure is. I mean, it covers all the bases. So it's really important that you have a story. I call them testimonials. That's what I tell drivers. I got a testimonial for you on this CDLP, and it happens to be a hazmat story. And I go into my little script on that, which I got in my brain, and I tell them about that story. And then I have another one for the legal plan. And it's, you just need to have your own story that you know, and it's good if it came from that trucking company you're giving a presentation at. I mean, that's a wonderful thing. That's a powerful thing to be up front telling about another driver at this company, and and you just go through it.
Well, that's the thing. You can use stories, but like you said, Lamar, if you don't have one of your own yet, and if you sell enough CDL, you'll get a story, because you'll have a driver. I have a driver story from the company that I present at. One of their drivers got a citation for his medical card not being attached to his driver's license. But with our plan, we got it dismissed. And I asked him if I could have a copy of the adjudication, and I have his adjudication where it says order of dismissal on that. And I mean, that's one of their co-drivers at this company. So that's another story that I share or what have you. And so until you get stories of your own, use these stories, because it will make a difference in the drivers.
Super.
So that's all I've got on that.
No, that's good. All right, good. No, that's good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with the Q&A. I want to make sure we got that testimony out and everybody knows where to find it. Go to the Facebook page, and if you want that and download it so that you have it, put it in your arsenal, use it for your clipboard for whatever you need to do there. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with the questions. So I don't know, Sharon, whether we have any questions in there. I'm not looking in the chat right now. Whether we have any questions. If we do have any questions, let's get them answered. You see any in there?
No, it's no questions in the chat at all. Just excellent story. Wow, powerful. Thanks so much. Great story.
Okay, so what we can do now is reach out and see if anybody has any questions about anything. If not, we'll go over some other particulars. But if anybody has any questions about either some things you heard at the convention that has to do with business solutions and CDLP, maybe it's a CDLP question about going in, talking to the gatekeeper, clipboard, whatever, all those different things. All those things. Go ahead.
One question just came. Oh, I'm sorry, Lamar. Go ahead, please.
No, you go ahead, Sharon. Go ahead.
T. Harris wrote, what is the script title that we should use when presenting to drivers? T. Harris, if you can elaborate on that, because it looks like that has all of us stumped.
Wait a minute, ask that question again.
It says on Facebook. So obviously they're trying to present to drivers on Facebook.
Oh, thank you.
Gotcha. Okay, so let me understand that question. What's the question?
What is? I can't catch that right now. What is
Can
the
you all hear
script?
me?
Yeah, Harris, that's you?
Yes,
Go
Go
ahead,
ahead,
please.
Mr. Harris.
Miss.
Yes.
Miss. Yes. So I was asking, what is the script title that Mr. Lamar uses? I'm on Facebook. I'm new to the group, and I've looked under files, but there's tons and tons of files. Wanted to know, what was it titled? What was it saved as?
Okay.
L Reynolds script. It's
Yeah.
gonna be L capital L space Reynolds script.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, and you can also, whenever you're looking too, you can also go to the bar. So what'll happen is when you're on the page, you'll see a search bar that says you can click it and say search the group. Not the search bar at the top to search Facebook, but the search bar in the group where you can search in the group. You can put in L Reynolds script there too, and it'll pull it up. It'll find it there as well. So even if you don't go into file section, you can go right here and click it and find it, and you'll see it. And make sure you're using the updated one. So you may see two pull up. Lamar Reynolds updated it a little bit less than 12 months ago, and we put the updated one there. So it should be a newer one there. So it should say updated or newest version or something like that. It'll let you know that it's the newest version when you're looking at it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, we have another question from Consuela. Mr. Dunbar, which area does possible points against driver fitness fall under?
That's gonna be a better question for Lamar and Randy. Well,
Lamar.
really to Randy too, because she kind of works in that space too. I'm not like, I understand those things, but on a bigger scale of like wholly, like individual tickets and points and where they're gonna find most of that stuff, I don't know unless I'm looking at something. So I'm gonna leave that definitely to some of the experts who can answer that question.
Go ahead, Mr. Randy.
I'll go ahead, Lamar, on that one. That's in the,
Well, that falls into the 7 deadly sins of the CSA. And so that goes into your CSA points that will reflect in your PSP. So as a driver, he has 2 records. He has a federal record, which is the CSA. And, it could be written up on the physical. It can be written up on vehicle maintenance. It can be hours of service. A lot of these 7 areas of violations that can fall in that. And so depending on what it is, the violation, it carries points and is multiplied times 3. So it can go from 0 to 10 times 3. And if it's put out of service, like brakes out of service, you would get 2 penalty points added to the violation points times 3. So the maximum you could get is 12 times 3. That would be 36 points that would go into a driver's record. And whatever goes into the driver's record ends up in the company's record. And so that is the CSA points. So what I tell drivers, you have 2 records. You have a CSA record and you have an MVR record. That is your state record. That's your driving record. And either one of those records can damage you as a commercial driver. And our program, the CDLP program, can reverse the points in both of those areas, in the federal CSA and in the state MVR. So,
and she was asking what the points would be, Lamar. That could be, that depends on the severity of it
Right.
for the DOT officer. So he can assess the point value on that anywhere from 1 to 10.
that is correct.
Thank you for that, gentlemen. Jim Hicks wrote, I have a prospect and I sent a link via app, I'm gonna say, from prospect, and my prospect received my Legal Shield app information. What can I do differently? Mr. Hicks, if you can come online, I'm not quite sure if I read that correctly. Just to ask that one question for us so we can get the other ones answered. Mr. Hicks?
He sent the wrong link. He sent them the link to his app versus the application, I'm thinking.
Yeah, you just got to be real careful when you're you're sending information out, and a person is clicking on Legal Shield, and you could be enrolling with the company and not you, and you just got to be real careful because me personally, I like to send the application, the PDF application, get them to click on that, print it off, fill it out, and they can even scan it and email it back to me or take a good picture and text it back to me. Okay. That way I'm in control of where that membership is being entered. Because I've had these drivers that are really smart, you know, and they didn't wait on my email to get the application, and they just went online and enrolled. And then when my application arrived and I waited a day and didn't get the application, I called them back. I said, hey, I thought you was going to fill out the application. I said, oh no, Mr. Reynolds, I'm already enrolled. I said, what did you do? Well, I went online and enrolled. I said, yeah, you paid $32.95 with a $25 enrollment fee, didn't you? He said, I sure did. I said, well, if you'd have filled out my application, you could have got it for $29.95. Now, many of you that are on this call, Mr. Randy can tell you, and Sharanda can tell you, when you call up the Legal Shield and say, oh, this guy made a mistake. I mean, it's really tough to get it changed from the company back to you. So you just got to be really careful about what you're sending out, making sure you got the right link, making sure they're enrolling in with the right person. Okay. And usually if a person is going to enroll on street pricing, I'll tell them at my website, when you go into my website, don't you enroll unless you see my ugly face up there. It's got a picture. He's got Lamar Reynolds right there and my name. Don't you enroll until you see that. And Clarence can tell you. I mean, you got to make sure it's in Clarence's website, you know, and not Lamar Reynolds' website. Because if you're just going online and type in Legal Shield, I mean, you might be enrolling with anybody in the company. So you just got to be really careful, really, really careful.
Hey, great.
Randy,
thank you for
got
that
any
one.
input on that? Yeah.
Hopefully that got his question answered.
Yeah, it did.
Okay, thank you. Consuela asked, is there a folder with all the clipboard information in one place?
Yeah, so for all the new people on the call, if you go to the file section on the Facebook page, in those file sections, all the documents are there. And what's so great about it is it's a scrolling document. So the clipboard, you hit clipboard and you have all the documents for the clipboard. And if you want to personalize some of that stuff, if it's personal, you can personalize it. You just go to your resources to do it. But all those, the clipboard, the decision maker folder, the driver's folder, you know, all that information is under files on the Facebook page. And it's labeled as such: the clipboard, Lamar Reynolds clipboard, driver's information, the DM or decision maker, you know, presentation or information that, Lamar uses at those, that he gives out. All that's the information that he has made those files for.
Great, thank you for that. I see that Karina has her hand up until I get this next question. Karina, are you able to come off mute and ask your question?
Yes. Hello, everybody. Last week when Sharanda was talking about the small business plans, and then we had also talked about the possible $16,000 fine that could be levied against a company if a driver is caught using the cell phone while driving. And then I thought, would the employee handbook be a good angle for approaching companies to talk about the importance of having a handbook and that addresses that, so that they're, whenever they're audited, they've got something on file that they train with the drivers. So my question is, would that be a good approach, or is that an overreach?
Well, personally, I think Lamar taught me that if they just sign the document that talks about the handheld, Lamar, you can correct me if I'm wrong, about the mobile phone use. If they have that signed and put in their folder, that would be enough.
Okay.
That's enough for that, doing that audit, that they've had the conversation with the driver signed off and they have it in their file. So Lamar, you can correct me. I know you trained on that to me years ago.
Yes. So what happens if a driver gets DOT'd out there and he's caught with a phone in his hand driving, and the police officer asks him, hey, does your company have a policy for the cell phone? Well, not that I know about. Well, he's going to issue a ticket to that driver, and he's going to hightail it over there to that company, and he's going to walk, the DOT will walk in there and say, I would like to see the phone policies written up for Jim Jones, that I just stopped out here. He says that you did not have a phone policy. I wanted to see if you have it on file. Well, no, I don't. Well, there is $11,000 fine if the company does not have a written phone policy. And it can be charged to the driver up to $2,750, I believe it is. I have to look at my sheet again. It's been a while since I looked at it, but I believe it is $2,750 that they can charge a commercial driver. And I'll run out to my car and grab my clipboard just to make sure. I'll come back on and verify the exact amount that can be levied against the driver. And these fines can be variable. So in other words, I had a driver from Houston that got a ticket in Arizona, and the officer wrote that for $2,500. I had another one that was stopped in Colorado. He got fined for $2,000. So, it can be certain levels that DOT officer can set that phone fine for not having hands-free.
Lamar?
Yeah, Randy.
Max is
Yes, sir.
$2,750. Max is $2,750.
There you go. Yep.
Okay.
There you go. $2,750.
Yeah, but since the employee handbook is now one of the new features included in the new plans, the Plus and the Pro, that's now something that's available that wasn't available before. So that's just a possibility for a new product that they may not have thought about before. Employee handbook doesn't have to be anything major. It could be 5 to 10 pages of the essential policies.
Yeah.
So right. I just wanted to bring that up.
But
that's like a $700 charge.
Randy, I think you had something.
I was going to say, the thing about it, Karina, in their employee handbook, it still doesn't give a cell phone policy. And by DOT, they have to have a written cell phone policy in place inside the handbook. It has to be from a, there is a form that they actually, a form letter that they're able to fill out. I have a copy of it, and if I think about it, I'll put that on the Facebook page too, but it is a form that you can give them, and they can fill that out, but they have to have that letter in the deal, and it doesn't have to be in a employee handbook, and that employee handbook through the new business plan is still going to cost them like $700.
$700.
And it's good on that sheet that they sign. It's got a date and a place for them to sign, because that officer can see it.
And I understand, Karina, where you're going with that. But every feature on our plan doesn't, it just doesn't relate to CDLP all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like I know Randy and Lamar do bigger companies than I do, and we know that a handbook is important. We know that, right? We really do. But for these companies, you know, that $700, they not, that feature to them would not be a feature that they would jump to our plan for. So as I talked about last week, in this industry, just pick those things that are important to them and focus on them. And if you get them to get that plan, maybe to protect themselves for the traffic, right? Maybe that's something you can go back to when things start to happen and say, you know what, my company can do this employee handbook for you. But to lead with that,
No.
no.
Yeah.
Even though it's a good feature, it really is. But those $700, like a piece of paper is all they really need versus that $700. Yeah, you wouldn't get far with that on that sale. So just remember to pull out from that small business plan what is important to that trucking company, their hot spot, their hot points. Okay. And then if you sell them and that feature is there, maybe that's a different conversation as you begin to build a relationship with them, and maybe the need arise.
Okay, thank you. That's why I wanted to bring it up and get your feedback. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Karina, for those questions. Tamika Ray writes, I am extremely new. Welcome aboard. For those who have been in this for a while, how would you advise your new self to get started? I have experience in the transportation field as a dispatcher and a carrier. Trainers?
Well, I reached out to her because me and her had already spoken. So,
okay.
Yeah, and I answered that in the comments. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. There's an iPhone user says that I have a question / situation with a trucking school. Mr. or Mrs. iPhone user, I don't see the rest of that statement. I don't understand that question. I have a question / situation with a trucking school. Are they?
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please. Thank you.
Hi, so my name's Diane. I'm out of New Jersey. I kept going by a trucking school and seeing them out in the yard with probably about 20 to maybe 25 people pulling the trucks out, backing them in. So I wanted to step out of my comfort zone, obviously, and I pulled into the parking lot and just observed for a few minutes. And then as I was pulling up in front of the building, a gentleman was walking and I said, excuse me. And he stopped by my car and I introduced myself. And he introduced himself as the HR for the school. Of course, like I wanted to smile big, but then my heart started racing because I was like, ooh, is this my go-to person? So I introduced him and we exchanged business cards. I kindly said, you know, I'm an independent associate and I have some information that may help your students once they graduate the trucking school. What's the best way to send you some information? Or can I just meet you in person? Well, with the COVID, he wasn't really too fond of meeting in person. So he said, email me. So I did. And I thanked him for his few minutes that we did talk. It was like 15 minutes. And then I sent him under the prospects, the CDLP video. It was the 3-minute video. He got back to me a week later and said that he liked what he saw and that he would pass this along. And as I'm reading my email, I'm saying to myself, no, you can't pass this along. Like I need to be able to, whether it's working one-on-one. So I said to him, I said, is there any certain days that I can either maybe bring by some donuts or pretzels just to start the rapport, to develop the relationship? Last week, I did try to reach out to Miss Sharanda Ivy, and I I had Mr. Robert Dunbar's phone number, but I must have lost it. So I tried to Facebook friend request Randa Ivy to see if I can get in touch with her. But I did stop by the company with some pretzels. And I did leave flat sheets with my business cards. I don't know if I totally messed that up. If there's room for hope or improvement, or my next step.
Great question. I'm gonna turn that one over to the trainers on that one.
Well, who is that?
Diane.
Oh, okay. Diane, the best way to reach me is not friending me on Facebook. It's just, it's a list of trainers. So my number's out there. My email is out there, so that's the best way to contact me. So I don't even remember. So, but we have a list of the trainers and my information is out there on the resources. So that's the best way to connect with me. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. And so, you guys want to talk about schools? I did schools in the past. We have a school here. I've done schools in the past, but what I found, and Dunbar had helped me on this, but Dunbar normally sells the personal plan up in there starting out. I mean, what I went there for is just to educate them that it was a commercial rep in the area to help them with their coverage, when they get out on the road, so they could always know that it was help and just to educate them some. But that's all I really went there for. So, and because it was more educational. So that's my only experience with school. So Randy, you and Lamar have any experience with schools or anything?
I've got 2 or 3 that we're working with, and if you get in just right, if you do it right, you can get it to where they will, if the instructor believes in the product and you can explain the value of the product, there's a lot of time that you can get them to even figure it into the price of the school. We've done that before, and then at the end of the school, whenever they get their license, then it is the check is from them is written to the company, and the driver actually buys it in their name, but it's figured into the cost of the school, and so therefore they have the money to buy at the end of the school, and it prepares them to be covered for a year after they leave the school. And if you work it right, it can be done that way. And but you have to really get with the instructors of the school and get them to understand the value of protecting that driver for that first year on the road to keep him where he can drive.
Thank
Good
you.
stuff.
Yeah, and also I had an associate that recruited the trainer at a school, and he became an associate, and he was selling memberships to the students. So that was a very effective approach. But if you're just showing up and selling memberships at one of the CDLP training, at a CDL school, I would highly suggest for that to be effective is the week of graduation. That's when you need to show up. And you need to work this out with the instructor that you're there, like if they're graduating on Friday of this week, and some schools are 4 weeks, some are 6 weeks, some can be even, 12 weeks long, depending on the school. I have different lengths of time. But if you arrange it to where you're there, like the day before they graduate, that's very effective in terms of them leaving that school with your membership and being covered when they're going out for their first job. And some drivers, it's a tough sell on a driver if they do not have a job lined up. If one of the students there already has a job lined up, it's very effective. They will buy that membership and they'll be covered going to their new company that they're going to work for. So I would suggest, like Randy's saying, it takes a lot of communication with these instructors to get in there and to be very effective. Okay. So it's a lot of communication, a lot of details.
And let me jump in real quick too as well. Give whoever that is.
I'm trying to get it.
All right. So this has been my experience. I've got 2 schools in Florida, and I'm just really seconding everything that everybody else said, because this is really kind of more of a simple process, so it's not going to be a whole bunch of different variations. But with my schools, it's the same thing. I went in, I spoke to somebody, they told me to speak to somebody else, they told me to speak to the owner because I had to get approval. Now, just ahead of time, just prefacing that, I've been put out a bunch of them too. Where I went in and they was like, oh, we don't have nothing to do with legal shit. We heard that before. We can't push that kind of stuff on people. I've heard all of those no's too. So just understand, everybody's not going to be accepting to you coming into their school and talking about it, just so you know that ahead of time. But the ones who were accepting, they did allow me to come in and talk to those drivers. And I would not push the CDL membership as much, because they're not going to buy it, because most of them won't have a job yet. So just kind of seconding what everybody said, they're not driving yet. So again, is it impossible to make that sale? No, it's not impossible to make a sale. But again, low hanging fruit, guys. Don't go into a space to sell somebody something where you kind of don't get to a bucket full of, or a barrel full of suspects and try to prospect. Does that make sense? So at that point, they're listening to you, you're giving them some food, offer them something that they will buy. So mention, hey, we have a CDL service. That's why we're here. We know you guys want to get on the road. We want you to start off clean. In the meantime, you can go ahead and start using the law firm now for your personal issues by enrolling into our family plan. And then once you get on the road and start driving, you can upgrade to the CDL plan, guys. The best customer to have is one that's already on the books that you just upgrade. Does that make sense? So again, don't get so focused on I'm at a truck driving school. It only makes sense to sell the CDL plan, right? Because sometimes it doesn't make sense to sell that. So I've got a lot of counties and cities that I work in the state of Florida. I don't sell a law officer plan to them. And to a lot of people, that doesn't make sense, right? And I'm not going to go into why I don't on this call, because this call is not about that. But that plan sometimes doesn't always make sense. So because you're in a CDLP school, doesn't mean push the CDLP plan, because they won't buy something when they don't have anything to protect yet, and they don't have a job producing income to cover the cost of something that they're not using yet. So go ahead and market them that family plan. Let them get their will done. Get used to using a law firm. Get used to using that app. Get them set up properly. Get them on membership perks, and then stay in touch with them. And as they start driving, hey, you're driving now, how's everything going? And then work that into what? A CDLP membership, and then work that into what? Do you have a relationship with the safety manager? Now you try to get into that company, guys. Take it one step at a time and turn it into a deal one step at a time. Don't work that prospect in a way that you end up losing the prospect because you're trying to sell them something that they can't buy, and then they push you off, and now they're not taking your phone calls. Does that make sense? So just, I would say, keep it in that perspective. So I'm gonna turn it back over to Sharon. Oh, and Sharon, real quickly, didn't you just win the trip from opening up CDLP groups?
Yes, I did, sir.
Okay,
and
so
it was
good.
only 5.
Okay, well, only 5. You didn't just say that, did you?
I wanted to do.
Huh? She
Say
said,
that again,
did she say only 5?
It's only been 7 since January the 26th, but 5 of the 7 was CDLP groups.
Hey, look,
All
but this is what I
right.
want you to do, because the question that we're answering, that we're talking about, I mean, some of these questions we're talking about, okay, going into a group. Well, obviously, you just won the free trip that Legal Shield offers. And if you've never been on one of those trips, you really want to be on one. I've been on like 3 of them, and I'm telling you, they pamper you. So
I just told you I wanted it too, Dunbar.
Huh?
I wanted a trip too.
You want a trip too?
Absolutely. Write small business plan, number 2 producer. And they was
Good.
all CDLP. They were all CDLP.
Oh, good stuff.
That's a
So
clue.
as a matter of fact, okay, so let's do this. Let's hear it from both of y'all, because again, good stuff. This is production. This is production showing results. So it's one thing to say, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Production showing results. So Sharanda opened up enough small business plans to CDLP companies to go to the trip, to win the trip.
I was on both of them. I was number 2 on both of them, small group and the small biz.
Good stuff. So
Number
Sharon, we're gonna have you give a quick testimony of what you're doing to open up those groups, and then you turn it over to Sharanda. Now, Sharanda, do you need to go? Do you need to go first? Or
no, we're doing the same thing, remember?
Okay, good. All right.
Yeah.
So, Sharon, you can go ahead and go first. Give us a testimonial, or let us know what you're doing, because you opened up 7 groups, 5 of which. So let's hear from you, and then let's turn it over and let's hear from Sharanda as well about what you guys are doing in the field.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Dunbar. Well, actually, mine came from referrals, and how I opened up the group is with one membership on owner operators, which netted me 6 benefit plans from one owner operator. That which constituted a group, and one referral after the other is what had given me the 5 commercial drivers, where I was able to open up those groups steadily, one after one. Even the 1st of this month, I opened one on the 1st, and then that Sunday the 4th, and then that Monday the 5th, just by referrals from owner operators. That's an easy space for me. It's not a physical group with employees. It's just the owner operator, where I was able to protect his business with the small business plan, trial defense, cross-selling as we've been trained. Then I protected his commercial driver's license, then his family with the life events legal plan, the home-based business added on to it for IRS protection, then identity theft. I always start off with the networking prices, $200 and some odd, and I say, let me see if you'll qualify for our discounted rates. I have to run this up the flagpole with our corporate office to see if you can qualify for discounted rates. Can you sign this group authorization form? And I'll let you know what the discounted rates will be. Am I on mute? Oh.
No, we hear you.
Okay. And so then when I quote them,
is that the end of your talk?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure, because I didn't want to cut you off.
Yes, and that's how easy it was. My groups, I told Marty Gerlano I'm coming after those 5 Lady of Justice just from referrals in the commercial driver space.
Good stuff.
Referrals are really key. So if you're doing referrals, you're selling CDLP, you need to be doing referrals, just like Sharon's talking about. If you're doing referrals, you're going to sell a good many memberships. Mr. Robert.
All right, no, good stuff. Appreciate that. And I'm gonna ask Sharanda to come on in and give her her spill on what she's doing as well.
So corporate allowed us to open groups with one application, but as most know that I built the business, just as Sharon said, off referrals and as well. And then as it goes, an owner operator, you can sell the bundles, like Sharon said, as we've trained, you can, that's one group. One guy is one group. And you can sell him everything that he needs if you're confident, if you're confident enough to do that. But right now, corporate allows you, if you know that guy's an owner operator and you don't have the confidence to open it up and sell multiple plans, you can just open it up with one plan. And if you want to start with CDL, that's what you start with. But I've sold packages and bundles for probably the last couple of years, really, just after learning more about it, on cross-selling. And so that's how I sell so many small business plans, because I cross-sell. And I ask a ton of questions, and by the time, and they train on this weekend, guys, and after asking the right questions, showing the value proposition, you end up selling, multiple plans. And so that's why, on the small business plan, every group that I opened was open with a small business plan, the personal plan, the CDLP plan, and a couple of them had the HBS as well. But corporate allows us now, a group is $100, as a qualifying group for that incentive. Now we have an incentive now where you can open a group with only $50 worth of premium. And that could be a combo. That's what Lamar promotes all the time is selling combos. So, we won the trip, the #2 producer on small biz, and then on that combo trip, and then #2 on the groups, because all those small business plans, all those guys became groups. So, so that's how you can do that in this space. You can cross sell, but like I said, corporate allows us now just to open a group with one plan. So even if you're not confident enough to cross sell in the beginning at that one sit down, you can open that group with that CDLP plan and waive the $25 enrollment fee, drop the fee down. And then when you're confident enough to go back to continue to add the products, now you're giving him discounted rates. So that's how, we were able to do that, and we're still working on the incentives. That's why we talked about, that's why I talk about incentives so much, because the plans that I'm writing in CDL. I get up every day, like Lamar say, and I sit in this chair right here from my house. I'm working my business 100% from the house, and I'm doing this from home. And so everything that corporate had taught us about Zooms and digital selling, you can use it here to run your business. But, like, I don't do Zooms a lot, but I am working my business from home. So you want to take advantage of the incentives, guys. It's like leaving money on the table. And, you want to maximize your profits and service that client 100%. So, Randy, Lamar, you want to say something? You sitting up?
Yeah, I was just going to say, you need to find your own comfort zone, whether that's working from home. If you're really good on the phone, I mean, you just need to find your comfort zone, the way you want to go to market, and you need to jump in there and make it happen. And referrals, I mean, I was in my doctor's office this afternoon, and I'm in the waiting room, and one of my members that I asked him to give me referrals, he just texted me this guy's name and phone number. And I said, well, I'll call him before I get out of the, once I get out of the office. Well, before I got out of the doctor's office, this guy is calling me. And he said, this driver, Craig Sharp, told me about you, Mr. Reynolds, and I have a ticket, and I would like to enroll in your program. I didn't even get a chance, Randy, to tell him about the program. He just said, I want to get in your program.
Shut up and send him that.
Imagine that. And so I forget now, it was Sharon Holiday that was talking about referrals. If you're in the business of asking for referrals, if you sell a membership, Clarence, you need to ask for a referral. If you ask for a referral, you'll get one. If you don't ask for a referral, you won't get one. And if you open a group, ask for referrals to other companies. They will refer you to other companies. And talking about those driving schools, me personally, I don't go after a lot of driving schools. I tried to sell a few of them, and I found out it's a tougher sale. I could go sell 3 trucking companies by the time I sold a school, and it becomes productive for me. So that's just me now. So I'd rather go to a trucking company and sell a trucking company, because in that trucking company, there's 4 areas that you can sell in: the safety meeting, the new driver orientation class, the driver's lounge, and then open enrollment, you're selling the office staff. So it's just so much low-hanging fruit in a group. If you open a group as a trucking company, and you've heard me talk about this before, I've got some groups that I call on weekly. They have a new driver's class weekly. I'm selling memberships in about 3 companies weekly. I have some companies that meet every 2 weeks. I have some that meet a month, each month. So, you just need to get in there, and it's just like Sharanda. I mean, she is making it happen right there from her office in her home. Now, if that's you, you're good on the phone, I encourage you to do that. If you like to get out and knock on doors like Mr. Randy, you know, you need to go out there and pursue it lifetime, just whatever you're comfortable doing. But you need to get into your groove, and hopefully transportation is the area you have selected, because in selling transportation, you can sell all these other products. It's just a wonderful opportunity as you start to tap into transportation. There's so many avenues you can sell in transportation. Robert, I could go on for another 10 minutes, but brother, I just pray that the 68 people we have on this call will really dig in and find their sea legs of where they need to stand in transportation and go sell companies and memberships. Mr. Randy, you have something?
I was wanting to, was the iPhone girl that has the school, if she'll give me a call, I'm gonna put my phone number in the chat session. There's something I want to go over with her personally. Other than that, that's all I have.
Okay.
And I want to address Consuelo asking about me with the home-based business supplement and the business plan. Consuelo, the home-based business supplement, you know, the business plan hadn't always had the audit coverage, but our HBS does. And so we have to look, so you have to just look at that now with the audit coverage in some of the business plans. So, but that HBS covers that Schedule C if that driver is still filing like that. So that covers that. So one thing I learned is to learn the plans, and that helped me in the field. So, so that's the difference in that, and that's why both of those are being sold. So that's all I have.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. Somebody was
If
one
I
of the
can-
trainers was about to say something.
It's me, Robert. If I can
Oh, okay.
tell in on Sharanda family, I've been in for 19 years, but I knew CDLP was my space, but I was trying to build a team at the time because jeans and tennis shoes, that's me all day coming out of law enforcement. And Sharanda's nuggets from our accountability call and really honing in for the past year has really tweaked my business. I already know how to sell the plan, CDLP, but the verbiage that Sharanda has used, the questions that she asked, we have a lot of people on our accountability call, and I don't say anything. I just listen. I'm a sponge when I get on that accountability call because they are asking questions that me as a seasoned person, Legal Shield, quote unquote, stuck in our training ways, won't pick up because it's coming from a fresh person. But I'm forever grateful for Sharanda. She knows that I'm her 5'7" mini me. And I'm right after her, but I'm out in the field. I'm GWC while she's sitting in her living room with her bonbons and orange juice and whatever else. So back to you, Robert.
All
Well, I
right, good
ain't
stuff.
bonbons nor orange juice, not doing any of that. So, but
What's that called? Momesta?
so yeah. But I've transitioned. I'm not GWCing. I thought GWCing was, that was all I knew. But when I had to transition, I had to transition. And so I have transitioned. I think I get more done this way than I did the other way, even though I love knocking on doors. I'm still cold calling. That's still what I'm doing. I'm just picking up the phones and just making it happen. So like Lamar said, we just have to find our own way, and you just have to do what you have to do.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, I appreciate the stories and testimonials, and obviously by the chat, people have gotten a lot out of this. So thank you guys for joining us again. We're gonna be hopping off here right now, and we'll be here again next week. So remember, next week, Monday, 8:30 to 9:30. Thursday, Sharanda Ivy has the accountability. If you're looking to be held accountable for doing your CDLP, and make sure that you are plugged into the CDLP Facebook page and go through those files to make sure that you know what's in there and what's being uploaded. I believe Connie Henderson just uploaded another document there. I saw something go through, so go ahead and check that out as well. It's a useful page with a lot of great information. So if you're on the YouTube channel by any chance, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Please make sure you like the videos. Please go through the videos and look at the videos that you've missed. Start from the newest video and go back. That way you're getting the most current information. And for those who may have missed the third annual Prospect and Trucking Company's video that we shot on March 22nd, please go back and watch that because it's a lot of great information in there. It's about a 2-hour-long video, but it's good information. So you want to do that. So whenever you call me or text me about getting involved in CDL and what should I be doing next, that's the first place I push you to, is to find out, what you should be doing first. And remember, the first Monday of every month, we always start with fast start topics when it comes to CDL. So with that being said, any of our trainers have anything they want to mention before we close out?
I just say the next CDLP class is in May. I don't think they dropped the date yet, but we didn't have one this month because of convention, but it will be in May. And
it's normally the third weekend. So if you're thinking about going, just clear that third weekend morning, because it's 9 times out of 10, that's when it's going to be the third Saturday in May.
And it's normally $49. Not
$49.
$49.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I love it. All right, Randy, Lamar, you guys good?
I'm good.
All right. Appreciate you guys as always. Love you guys. Look forward to you guys next week. Thanks for staying with us all the way to the end. Everybody have a fantastic evening.
Good night, all.
Everybody have a good
Night.
night.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Night,
I'll
everybody.
do my number in the chat too.
Good night.
Right.
Good night. Good night.
Thank
Thank you guys for your wisdom.
Thank you so much.
Good night. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Randy,
stuff.
thank
Good
you.
stuff.
Randy, did
Thank
you put
you.
that in? Did you put that in the Facebook?
Yeah, the testimonials in the Facebook.
Oh, okay.
I put it in there before the call so that I wouldn't forget it.
See you next week.
All
Good
right.
night.
Next week.
Robert,
Yes.
do you want me to upload that cell phone paper?
Can you please? Yeah.
Okay.
Can you please?
I've got
I know
it
we have
pulled
like a
up.
copy of a one-page one that's part of like one of the clipboards, but it's in that with all the other stuff. And it's probably good to have that as an individual.
This is the one that I have.
Yeah, and we have one of those, but it's in the clipboard, so it's probably better for them to be able to get one individually like that, just in case they need one.
Okay. Well, I'll put that up on the Facebook page in the
All right.
file.
Yeah, I'm digging up in those.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
All right.
Dunbar, July cancel.
Oh, I don't know, because I got the other call on low. I'm looking at it, but I don't have the volume up, so I didn't hear him say anything.
October was. Okay.
Yeah. Well, we got a ring on the thread, so he'll probably announce it on that thread after this. Yeah, I'm gonna jump on here and see what they're talking about. Mm-hmm.
Tell me about July.
July?
Y'all event in Maryland.
Oh, you said they canceling that?
No, he said it said postponed.
Oh, they postponed it. So we did have 800 seats for that. So I bought some tickets for that. So I got to look at that and see what they talking about doing this.
Well, just let me know about July.
Okay, yeah, because we had 800 seats. So we were booked to do it. So let me see, find out, whatever.
Yeah, I'm paying for that. We trying to make schedules because we might come to Orlando to my Amelia thing.
Okay, I got you. Or
versus, because I'm coming to Maryland if it's still open.
Okay, I got you. Well, yeah, I'll let you know, but you're probably gonna hear it anyway, during this deal.
Okay.
All right.
All right. We'll talk. Okay.